Hello and welcome to the I've Seen Everything Reaction Wrap-Up. My name's Andrew and I'm glad to have you here with me. This is where I share my thoughts, rating, and review following my most recent reaction or watch-along video. To find these reaction and watch-along videos, please visit @SeenEverything over on YouTube. Please be sure to click the follow button here on the podcast, and for those listening on Apple Podcasts, a rating and review would be greatly appreciated. And now, on to this episode's wrap-up for
The Crow, 1994, starring Brandon Lee. Well, this was a different one, wasn't it, folks? If you're here, you've obviously seen this movie. I don't know what your history is with it, but if you watched through all of this with me, I thank you. I don't know how this will come out, honestly. Sitting here thinking about it and how I'm going to edit it. This is a different thing. If you had to pick probably the most personal movie to me in my life, this movie would be it. And I can't exactly tell you why, except just who I was in the moment it found me. I really connected with this movie. And then I went and read the comic, and I really connected with everything to do with The Crow. I remember so many different things. I remember buying this movie the day it came out on VHS. I remember going to see the sequel opening day, August 1996. I had to rush from school after school was out to get on a city bus to get to the theater to see it. I have so many memories tied to this movie and this franchise overall. Not all of them great, unfortunately. I like the second movie. I didn't at first. It took a while to get to that. I don't like the third and fourth movies so much because they are based on novels that are better than the movies were. And the new one I did like, but it's kind of difficult to explain. But it's one of the things that I've found the most heartening over the years is that people still do like this movie. They watch it for the first time and there's still things that appeal to people about it. I loved the music from this movie and the second movie too. Both scores composed by the same person. I've watched this movie countless times. It's something that connects with me on a level that a lot of other movies don't, for whatever reason. I'd be interested to hear if you have a movie like that. And I wouldn't try to sell this movie to somebody as the greatest movie ever. I think it's a really good movie. I love it. Is there a movie like that for you that you love it? It's something that will always be a special movie to you. There are a lot of changes in this movie from the original comic. I talked about some of them in the reaction. Officer Albrecht in the comic book is a lot different. And then there's another character named Detective Hook, and they kind of put those two characters, I feel like, together to make the Officer Albrecht that we got in this movie. But even so, Ernie Hudson's performance and some of the additional things that they wrote to make him such an endearing character. This kind of loyal, somewhat paternal character, but just a good person trying to do the right things for the right reasons, even when it's hard. Even when everybody else had forgotten about Eric and Shelley, it was important to him to try to get some justice for these people. He looked after Sarah because she's basically on her own. Her mom wasn't taking care of her. Sarah is another one. Again, we get, a few panels with a character named Sherry in the comic. Did not know Eric previously. He and she sit there and talk for a while, and he ends up giving her Shelley's ring. I think that they did a wonderful job in this movie of not making a direct adaptation of the original comic, but of taking that story and clearly telling their own version of that story and adding to it and shaping it in a different way. And creating something that conveyed their own unique vision of the kind of story they wanted to tell, but also paid service to the story that James O'Barr told. Which, again, this is a story that's unfortunately intertwined with a lot of tragedy. A lot of people know that Brandon Lee unfortunately died because of a mishandled prop gun on the set of this movie. The other thing that happened is the writing of this comic book to begin with came from tragedy as well. James O'Barr's fiancée was killed in a car accident, I believe from a drunk driver, if I'm remembering correctly, which is what spurred him on to write this comic book to begin with. That was the basis for this movie. He was dealing with his grief over that. It is terrible and complicated to have so much tragedy wrapped up in something like this, especially since it's something I love so much. But because of his passing, this ended up becoming an anthology franchise, and not just in the respect of the movies, each of the movies being a different story. They've written novels, they've written comic books, they have a book of short stories and poetry. James O'Barr's been involved in some of it, but telling different stories each time. It's really kind of the perfect franchise to be able to tell all kinds of stories, all kinds of different circumstances where you have people who have been the victim of tragic circumstances being given the opportunity to find a little justice. There's something cathartic about that. It's ironic that the director of John Wick was the stunt double and then later on stand-in who helped them finish this movie. Because in a way, John Wick is kind of that type of story too. I mean, there's a revenge element to it. But I could go on and talk about all kinds of Crow-related stuff forever. Over the years and all the ways that I've changed and all of the different movies that I've seen and loved, this is one that always remains close to my heart. And since I could go on about this stuff forever, and I don't think that that would make for a particularly good video, I will end this in the most appropriate way I can think of. On the original VHS for this movie, they included an interview with Brandon Lee from the set of The Crow about this role and about what he thought of playing this part. And he very much believed in this role. He felt a very close connection to this role. He thought it was a beautiful story they were putting together. And he finished the interview by giving this quote from a book called The Sheltering Sky. I'm going to do my best to do this from memory. I might screw it up. I haven't looked this up in quite a while. Because we do not know when we will die, we get to think of life as an inexhaustible well, and everything only happens a certain number of times, really. How many more times will you remember a certain afternoon of your childhood? An afternoon that is so deeply a part of your being that you cannot conceive of your life without it. Perhaps 4 or 5 times more. Perhaps not even that. How many more times will you watch the full moon rise? Perhaps 20. And yet it all seems limitless. Thank you for being here and watching this with me. I appreciate it, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.
Thank you for listening to the I've Seen Everything reaction wrap-up. Again, to find these reaction and watch-along videos, please visit @SeenEverything over on YouTube. Please consider following the podcast, and for those on Apple Podcasts, a rating and review are always appreciated. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I'll meet you here on the next episode.